So you want a pair of speed boots, but you're on a budget. You want to stand out from all your friends who are rocking Mercurials, and you want something that's got that extra special X factor. What do you buy? You buy these. What's up guys, James here from Boot Wizard Boot Reviews, and today we are doing a full tech spec review of the Lotto Solista 200. This is one of my favourite boots on the market right now, especially when you take it on a value for money perspective. So taking a quick look around the boot to see what it does look like. There is a full unboxing on the channel available right now. I'll put a link just above and one in the description as well if you want to check that out. I don't think they're the best looking boot, and I'm not a huge fan of the green color that's been used, but that is a classic Lotto color. They used it a lot when they were a bigger brand back in the early 2000s and in the 90s. Not a bad looking boot, very classic silhouette. I do like the external heel counter, but by no means a good looking boot, I don't think. I think though most of that is worth overlooking for the performance and the price of this particular beauty. Alright, we're going to take a look at the upper. So this is a microfiber synthetic upper all the way around. It has some slightly raised texturing through the midfoot area on both the medial and lateral sides, with the Lotto logo also being raised, and that is actually cut out from the inside of the boot. So it's like impressed out onto the outside of the boot. I assume it is there for some kind of padding, compression, and touch on the ball, but it could just be there to look pretty. Either way, it doesn't affect the touch on the ball at all, and the upper as a whole contains no texture. It is a very, very smooth upper. If you are looking for a speed boot with a barefoot sensation, this is almost unbeatable. It is probably more barefoot than you're going to get from the current Mercurial line. Because the current Mercurial line has gone Flyknit, this is a more authentic barefoot speed boot sensation. It harks back all the way to those 2014 F50 Adizeros, which is not a bad comparison. Really, really great boots, and this is probably the most similar thing you're going to be able to get to that boot. It has an old school speed boot vibe, and I really, really like it. Great touch on the ball if you're looking for that close, responsive, barefoot feel. Okay, sole plate and stud pattern. So the sole plate itself uses Lotto's Pontoflex technology. So this is all about you being able to get a good responsiveness from your sole plate, and it also letting your foot move in the correct way and in the correct places. So that's what all of this structuring is for, through the midfoot, through the heel, and then a little bit at the base of the forefoot as well. The midfoot and the heel is super stiff, and then the forefoot is flexible with a great amount of spring back. It's not super flexy in many directions, but the spring back for straight line speed and responsiveness in these is pretty amazing. I really, really like the sole plate, and the plastic in it has been obviously slimmed down and is super thin to save on weight without losing the structure and without you feeling like it's cheap or it's going to break. It still looks and it still feels like it has good durability, which is a fantastic thing. The stud pattern itself is pretty good, and it's fairly similar to what you're going to find from a lot of the Adidas range at the moment. In the X line, the layout is very, very similar to this, with the 4 studs in the base, and then the studs through the forefoot there, and the support stud in the middle. The main difference being that these are all conical studs, some with small cutouts in them just here to give you a bit more of an aggressive traction. Now, this is possibly where this as a speed boot falls down slightly. Conical studs are not the most aggressive, and they don't feel the most aggressive when you're trying to get traction on the ground. The sole plate is great. The stud pattern lets it down slightly. My only other issue with the studs on this is that they are quite long, particularly in the heel. So they are definitely more for a firm ground, a firm natural grass. I wouldn't advise using these on either artificial grass or on a hard ground. I don't think it's going to work out too well. And I can confirm it's not great on AG pitches. Okay, the biggest, or one of the biggest selling points of this boot, the price. The price point that a boot of this quality comes in at. This boot is 130 euros brand new. You can pick it up right now from the Lotto website for 80 euros, and when you go on the Lotto website it will ask you to sign up to their mailing list, and if you do, you get an extra 15% off. So you can take 15% off that 80 euros. Now, while it does say it doesn't apply to sale items, trust me, it works. So if we take the price point of this boot, a top-end speed boot, and we compare it to its competition is the Nike Mercurial Vapor, the Mercurial Superfly, both in the elite models. We can compare it to the X18 Plus, the X18.1, the Puma 1.1, the Puma 19.1. God, there's too many ones. You know what I mean. That one. All of those boots are significantly more expensive. As I say, 130 euros, not on sale, at full retail. The Puma 1.1 and the Puma 19.1 are the next closest to this, retailing at 200 euros. It's mad that you can get a top-end boot, and this is a quality top-end boot, I'm not kidding, for 150 euros less than Adidas's top-end boot. It is definitely worth looking at. In terms of value for money right now, I don't think Lotto boots in general can be beaten, and especially not this in a speed boot category where the boots are raising in price all the time. Alright, let's talk about the weight, which is another massive defining feature of this boot. We're going to take it, put it on the scales. These come in at 179 grams. This is in my size, which is a UK 8, US 9, EU 42 and a half in Lotto, 179 grams. If I compare it to the current Nike Mercurial Superfly Elite in the same FG stud pattern, that is 201 grams. This is the premier speed boot that you can get right now, the Mercurial Elite. Now this is 201 grams, which is no slouch. That's a good weight for a speed boot. But a boot which is over 100 euros cheaper comes in at 179 grams. This is over 20 grams less than the Nike Mercurial. That is incredible, and you know what? You feel that on feet. It is so light.
Please hang up and try again.
Alright, let's talk fit and comfort, starting with the inside of the boot. So this is the liner that you get, this is the insole, and this is a synthetic suede on top, which is very nice, but then the back is this foam, and honestly this is the only bit of the boot that I do think feels a bit cheap, and it is this foam on the back. It's not great, it's not particularly padded, it's not bad, but compared to the rest of the boot, could possibly do with a bit of improvement. The rest of the inside of the boot has a synthetic suede liner in the back, which is this blue area. No additional padding, no additional nonsense or anything like that. It is a very simple boot with a very simple liner to keep it light, to keep it barefoot, and to keep it authentic in terms of a speed boot. Okay, on feet is where these really shine. And let's be honest, that's where you want them to shine. As soon as you get them on, you can feel how light they are. These are incredible. The feeling on your feet, because of the weight, is quite amazing. And then you take that and you combine it with the amount of lockdown that you feel. I am super locked into these boots. They're a standard construction. They don't have the one-piece upper, but the heel lockdown in these and the way that when you tie the laces tight, the boot conforms to your foot is quite amazing. It's really, really great, especially for, as I keep saying, 130 euros. Speaking of the laces, they do feel a little bit cheap. They are not the best quality laces, but super easy to swap out if you wanted to. I'm also not a fan of them in that bright green, but on the whole, I think the boot looks a lot better on feet than it does in hand. And let's be honest, white speed boots do make you faster, right? As you might expect, these are not the widest boots in the world, so if you do have particularly wide feet, these are not going to be for you. In terms of actual sizing, these run true to size. Mine are a UK 8, EU 42.5, US 9, and they fit me absolutely perfectly. In conclusion, these are a fantastic boot, especially when you factor in the price that you pay for them. They're not quite as technologically advanced as something like a Mercurial Vapor, a Mercurial Superfly, or an X18.1, but they do the job just as well, and in some respects, better. You saw that already with the weight. If you are looking for an OG speed boot vibe, something with a super barefoot sensation, incredibly light on the ball and very responsive, maybe you're a little bit upset that Nike switched the Vapor to a Flyknit and you kind of want those speed boot feels back, this could be something well worth checking out without breaking the bank. That's all for today, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please smash that like button. It helps me out a huge amount. Let me know down in the comments, would you rock Lotto boots and would you wear them instead of something like a Vapor? And finally, do remember to subscribe to the channel. But that is everything. Have a good one and we'll see you soon. God, Juan.